Welcome to the Investor Agent Synergy Podcast, where real estate investors and agents come together to build partnerships, create value, and achieve more together. Whether you're an agent looking to unlock new opportunities or an investor seeking the right partnerships, this is the place to learn, grow, and connect. This podcast is proudly sponsored by New Hampshire Homebuyers, a trusted leader in local house buying since 2017. With over 100 glowing reviews and a commitment to being local, fair, and trusted, New Hampshire Homebuyers helps homeowners throughout New Hampshire and Massachusetts sell their homes in any condition. Now, let's dive into the podcast.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeremy Beland.
Hi guys, I'm Shelly.
It's my wife, my beautiful wife, Shelly. Welcome to episode 8 of the Investor Agent Synergy Podcast. I can't believe 8 episodes. Okay. Thank you guys for listening and watching. What we want to do here is just bring the collaboration between agents and investors together. We all do more together, providing value to our local community. And we always like to highlight a very special realtor who works a little bit in the agent space, a little bit in the, a lot in the agent space, but a little bit in the investor space. And today we have a rock star. He's a young kid, but if you guys are around, you know who he is. His name is Josh Winn. He's part of Realty One Group out of Bedford, New Hampshire. And Josh, thanks for being part of our podcast episode today.
Thank you for having me as number 8, best for 8.
There we go.
Sounds good. We're excited. So we'll start out, let's just get to know you. If you can share with us your market, how long you've been in real estate, and what got you started.
Yeah, so my market is typically within an hour of Manchester. I'm born and raised in Manchester. I have 2 properties there. I got into the real estate business in 2021. Previously, I was doing medical sales. I got out of college. I was working in Lawrence. My base was like 30 grand. Now, like in a good month, you can clear 30 all day.
I know.
COVID hit. I realized as I was working from home, I'm like, wow, I'm finishing my work in 2 hours. It previously took me 8 when I was in the office, just because you got to fill your time with something.
Sure.
So I realized I wasn't really getting the most out of my time. So I just figured I'd get licensed. I was selling very inexpensive single-use medical devices before. And I decided to flip things on its head. I want to sell the most expensive thing because people really value someone they like and trust when they're at a higher price point. As I'm sure you've spent a lot of money on a lot of different things. The more money you're spending, the more you got to trust the person you're working with. I'm like, I already have people who know and trust me. So let's just give them a medium, like if they want to buy a house. So I've sold about 115 houses in the past 4 years.
Wow.
Impressive, yeah.
80% of those are buyers, and most of those are buying their first house with less than 5% down.
Wow.
Fantastic.
That's really impressive,
Yeah.
Josh. I mean, especially when we look at the crazy statistic of 2024, where more than 70% of realtors didn't sell one house in 2024.
Right.
You're over here crushing
I've
it.
been living at my parents' house. We're selling one house. So.
Yeah.
Well, that must have been scary leaving a sales job, especially after going to college, because you graduated from UNH, correct?
Yep, 4-year degree, and then you get out and you're making 30 grand, and you still want to leave that. My dad was rolling in his grave.
Yeah. Was they worried about you leaving to go into real estate?
Yeah, because I thought I was going to be a doctor for a long time, and then I realized that I care more about the relationship with people than maybe working on them. People person.
Yeah.
And then they were concerned that I wouldn't be able to pay back my degree in something that my degree didn't help me get. Like a nurse is going to pay off their nursing school debt because they're in high demand. Right. Going from medical sales to real estate, my dad was like, and he's super supportive now because it's worked, but what are you going to be doing 40 hours a week to make how much? Because he's like, when are you leaving? I started real estate when I was 24.
Yeah.
Now people are staying at home till they're almost 30 sometimes, but
Sure.
He was ready for me to fly the coop.
It's scary, I think, for parents to worry that you went to school for 4 years for this and you're already making this change. And real estate, maybe they think, kind of like the antiquated thinking, like it's very risky to get into. But then all it takes is that first couple of deals, that proof of concept. They're probably like, okay, go do this because clearly it worked out for you already.
Yeah.
So.
And then it turned on its head pretty quick because in, I think it was like May of 2022, I pulled into my parents' driveway with Winn on the license plate in a Mercedes C300. And then my dad went from not thinking that real estate was going well to being like, we should be charging this kid rent. So then I got an apartment, and then it kind of kept getting bigger from there.
Oh, good for you, man. That's great.
Okay, so moving on, what are your long-term goals in real estate then?
I think that especially it's a pleasure to talk with investors like you because I see that a lot of agents who just do what I do for a long period of time, they get burnt out. And the people who seem to have longevity in the business are people who are investor focused. Like you're investing time into people who invest back into you. Whether like how long can I help 30 people buy their one-off house,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And then I'm going
That's
to wait 5 to 7 years for them to upgrade that house, and then they're going to live in their third house for 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you want to have clients for life, but like how do I get money to do what I want in my 20s and 30s? It's probably going to be through helping investors.
Yeah, that makes a good point because, with the buyers and sellers in the retail space, it's very transactional, right?
Yeah.
And you have a period of time waiting for them and you hope the referrals and everything else, but you're always constantly searching for leads, which is fine.
Yeah.
That's what we do in the off-market space as well. But if you can build some relationships where you are doing multiple deals with them every year,
Yeah.
that at least gives you a base to work on, and the pressure to go out and find new sellers and new buyers isn't as, demanding.
Yeah, and it's not, I like that investing isn't emotional. So it's like how long for my first time buyer to have an emotional need to leave their current house and get another one, abandon their low rate, uproot their family. Whereas you guys, there's no emotion. It's like, is there money in the deal?
Yeah, it's just
Sweet.
business.
Yeah.
It's about the numbers.
Like I could go to a client right now and say, there's a smoking deal here. I can get your closing costs covered. They're like, I don't really like it.
Yeah.
They're going to wait to potentially pay a lot more for a different house, so they like more.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah. So it sounds like the reason that you even switched into this is because of your relationships with people. But what are some ways you think you bring the most value to your clients?
I think right off the bat, as agents get more experienced, they are a little bit more hands-off and they leverage and they delegate a lot. I'm 5 years in. I honestly don't delegate a ton. People are saying like a lot of agents, they get experienced, they start a team, they get a buyer agent who's brand new and they run in with all the buyers. That doesn't really work with me because I'm doing 80% buyers. So if I was referring out 80% of my clients just so I can leverage a couple more listings, it doesn't really make sense to me. So I feel like I'm very hands-on. I have full-time availability. I'm not at my kid's soccer game over the weekend because I don't have a kid yet. There are a lot of great agents who are parents as well, but this is my full-time commitment right now, and there's
All
nothing
in.
else that I'd rather do than grow my business and do that through helping people out.
Do you see you being a buyer agent going forward in the long term?
So I think there will be a need to transition once all of my buyers are getting ready to sell. So once they've worked with me a couple times, they're going to say, okay, sweet. If Josh is a buyer's agent, he's vetted, he trained them, there's only one of them. Like, I don't want a fleet of buyer agents. I just want one really good one and like
Sure.
a TC. But for the near future, I would need to be doing 20 or 30 listings myself before I start referring those buyers out. Like this year, I'll probably do 10 or 15 listings and probably 20 or 25 buyers, but I probably won't refer the buyers out until I have like a really demanding need for the listing side.
So when it comes to investing, you mentioned that you love the fact that it's, not emotional, as, retail buyers can be for understandably good reasons.
Yeah.
And you said that you hope to work with we talked a little bit offline, working with investors long term. Have you worked with any investors now since you started this business?
Yeah. For the most part, the investors that I work with are either brand new getting into it and they want to get into it as a result of maybe seeing the multifamily journey that I've started recently. So it's not the people who are doing 10 deals a year quite yet. It's the people who have a lot of liquid funds elsewhere and they're not diversified into real estate.
Okay.
So they're professionals in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, and they say, I have too much money sitting in an account not doing anything. I see the market going up. Let's go get into a property.
Okay.
So it's not going to be their primary residence. They don't live there. They have other assets, but they want to get into real estate.
So they buy, like, say, a multifamily in Manchester, New Hampshire,
Yes.
and they're bringing 20, 25% down to the table to buy it, and then they're going to just basically use that as a
Buy and hold.
buy and hold. Okay,
Yeah.
great. What made you decide to even have any interest working with investors? Because a lot of agents don't work with investors at all.
Yeah. And I think it's crazy when people don't want to work with investors because it can be so fruitful. I just look at people who are spending money hand over fist, like Zillow every month, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000
To generate leads?
to get people who want to go right away. And it's like, like instead of a Zillow lead, you can find hungry people who want to repeat buy, it's called an
Right.
investor.
Yeah.
You know, because my first time buyers aren't buying again anytime soon. They just spent all their money buying that first house. So to kind of compensate for being so first time buyer heavy, I also need to have people who are investor heavy as well.
Okay, and this allows you to have a little more consistency with your revenue month to month. I assume.
Even if it's not consistent yet, you help 100 people every 3 or 4 years for a decade, you're going to have a lot of repeat stuff down the road.
Understood.
You know?
Understood. And you work as an investor yourself, right? Can you share how you got into investing personally?
Yeah, so I have a 3-family in Manchester. It's pretty unique because it also has a 3-car detached garage. I'm getting 200 a bay there, so
Wow.
it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Of course, boiler went last month, so that wasn't very nice, but that was good.
Yeah.
I got it off market, under $500K for a 3-family. You really can't beat it. I renovated the 2nd floor, probably put 20 grand into that. It was right near, it's kind of behind the police station in Manchester, near the fire department, near the church. So it was always loud, hustle and bustle. And then it got to the point for me where I just was like, wow, I really want to be surrounded by successful people. And not everybody in my neighborhood. It's Harvard Street, but no one went to Harvard. That's what I tell everybody. So I just said,
Yeah,
I was
I
really
love it.
hoping to get a 2-family. But the opportunity didn't strike last summer, so I ended up getting a condo on the north end. So it's kind of where I kind of retreat to, get all my work done there. I can concentrate, and I'm kind of looking for the next one.
Are you living in the 3-family now?
So not living in the 3-family.
Okay.
I bought that in July of 2023.
Did you live there initially?
Yeah, I actually did. I didn't fake it.
Okay.
I actually lived there for a year, and then in July of 2024, I got the condo. So
Okay.
I moved out of the 3-family.
Great. So
and the
now you're a
condo.
true investor. You have a 3-family that you're renting out.
Yep, yeah, and I tell people, and they don't believe it, but it's cheaper for me to have the 2 properties than the 1.
Yeah.
So between the 2 properties right now, I pay $1,000 a month, and if I were just in the condo, it'd be $2,700 a month. You know?
Sure.
Are you self-managing?
Yes,
Yeah.
currently.
Okay, cool.
So just yesterday, I got a call from my tenants. The electric in the first floor unit is not working. I sent an electrician over today at 7:30. They weren't happy about that. He gets there, they checks the first floor panel, nothing's tripped. Checks the landlord panel, and one of those breakers has flipped. So half of my first floor unit I was paying for.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Gosh.
Now you live and learn.
Yeah.
So they were first upset that I woke them up early with an electrician, then
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh wait, Josh has been paying for these circuits in my,
Yeah,
you know."
Do we
Learning
tell
every
him
day.
that we don't want to pay going forward?
Yeah.
That's why it's good that you're self-managing it at first, because that's how you learn everything.
Yeah,
I feel
I
like
agree.
then you know, rather than just having someone take care of it right away. You don't always know all the ins and outs, so
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
And being like an agent under 30, like you got to get your street cred somewhere.
Yeah.
Most of the young agents just don't even have their own house.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a big thing. So if I was an agent with no house or no properties trying to get into a conversation like you, you'd probably be looking at my resume being like, it doesn't really make sense yet. You know?
Yeah.
So I know my investors and my clients, they love to see on my stories, like he's dealing with a boiler that died, electric issues,
Right.
just redid a roof,
Yeah.
just did 3 garage doors, just did pest control. I think they are like, okay, cool. He definitely has someone for everything and he's been through it before. It's not just like blowing smoke. Like I
Sure.
recommend this because I actually went through it.
Yeah, that would make me feel trust right away if we
Yeah.
were working up with you on buying a multi and
All that credibility.
you knowing all of those things that we deal with too.
Yeah,
You know?
and it's like the kid who's just always dreamed to sell $1 million houses in Wyndham.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard if you don't live in $1 million house yourself, like say Shannon DePietro.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
people want
Yeah.
to work with their peers, and
Yeah.
even though I'm a young investor, I'm still a peer to investors.
Sure.
You know,
So now you mentioned that you work with investors. Can you give us an example of one specific deal that you did with an investor, and how it came to fruition, why
Yeah.
it came to fruition, and what was the end result of it?
Yeah, so this is a crazy one, and people are always like, Josh, if you find a perfect deal, let me know. People are overlooking on-market opportunities all the time.
Okay, good to
So
know.
this was two and a half years ago. This 3-family in Auburn, New Hampshire, and you guys know how desirable Auburn
Yeah.
is.
Sure.
It was
It
sitting
is.
on the market for like 100 days. $395 is what we got it under contract
Wow.
for an on-market 3-family in Auburn
yeah.
on 5 acres.
Wow.
So listing agent was a good guy from KW, Kevin Leonard, and appraiser came back. I want to say it was either a VA or FHA loan. It was crazy. Or maybe it wasn't. I'll have to check. But for some reason, there was a big barn in the backyard, like 2,000 square feet, dilapidated, probably 100, 150 years old. And they said we had to get rid of it to get financing.
Sure.
Because it wasn't structurally safe.
Yeah.
And it would have been $14,000 to get rid of it.
Wow.
We were going to do a control burn with the fire department, but they said because it was like the old shingles they used like weren't safe to be burned.
Wow.
And we're like,
Okay.
who's going to get rid of this?
Yeah.
Well, the listing agent had a buddy who had a bobcat. And he went over there. He used it as an opportunity to make a TikTok. And he just, with a bobcat in 10 minutes, destroyed the whole thing.
Wow.
So when, like, buyer doesn't want to move, seller doesn't want to move, seller kind of thought he's getting hosed a little bit.
Yeah.
My buyer was at $395, like, getting a sweet deal. But when you're paying $15,000 more just to destroy a barn,
Yeah.
you start to have the illusion that you're not getting a good deal anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we kind of just came in and said, hey, someone's got to come up with some solution. Fortunately, the listing agent did. No cost to the buyer. We closed on that. It's worth over $500,000 two years later.
That's amazing.
So,
That's
and you
amazing.
could probably subdivide it. There's a subdivision rate in the backyard.
That's
And
great.
Was
like,
it sitting for a while because of the barn, or why do you think?
I don't know if it was just listed at the wrong time,
Yeah.
but like looking back,
It's a great find.
I sent it to a couple buyers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how anyone else didn't buy
Yeah,
this.
that's
I
what I
can't
was
believe
thinking.
my little old investor like getting into it for the first time.
Yeah.
Like she lives in a
It's
nice
great.
house in Derry. You know, her kid's in Pinkerton. She said, I want to invest in something. And she hopped into a cash flowing multifamily and it's now worth $150,000 more than when she got it.
Yeah.
Nice
So-
work.
Gotta love appreciation
It's
up
awesome.
here
Yeah.
in the Northeast,
Yeah,
that's for sure.
no kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that story, and what I love about it most is, right, because with us as investors working direct to sellers off
Yeah.
market, we provide a lot of value in problem solving, right? We work with a lot of people who are in some kind of distress, whether it's financial distress,
Yeah.
emotional distress, mental distress, the house is distressed, and they need a creative solution to get through the problems. I feel like that's what realtors do a lot, and they don't get recognized for that. And you just gave an example of that, right? You need to get the listing agent wants to get his seller taken care of. You as the buying agent want to get your buyer taken care of, and you have this $15,000 bond just sitting there waiting for somebody to take control of it, but nothing's really working. And you guys came up with the idea of like just finding somebody who wanted to do a TikTok video and take it down, and then problem solved.
He had a great
Yep.
time doing it. I'll
Yeah.
send it to you later.
That's awesome. So as we wrap up here, I'd like to know, what are your long-term goals going forward as an agent, investor, and combining the two?
So I know a lot of agents have a very clear 5 or 10 year plan. At the forefront of my business, I want to run with people who are really excited about working with me. And if that group changes from move up buyers to first time buyers, what have you, I'm going to kind of run with people who want to work with me. What I can do though, I do want to shift my focus to become more heavy on the investing side. And I'm 27 and a half, I guess, right now. By 30, I'd like to have 10 or 15 units.
Good for you.
And then scale upwards from there. You know, so if I get to the point where I'm like, wow, it's hard for me to run around with first time buyers right now, I might then get the buyer's agent, focus on my listings where I don't need to leave Manchester, and then focus on my off market hunt. But
love that.
as long as I have first time buyers right now paying my bills, I'm going to give them my attention.
Yeah.
If opportunities come that you've talked about where I can become the Mr. Finder for investor guy, I can be the people person, the jack of all trades, and help investors while becoming one, then so have it.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that. Bit of advice. How many doors and properties you own isn't as important as how much they cash flow and appreciate with equity. A lot of people just talk about like, I own 100 doors, and it's
Yeah.
like, how much do you actually make per door? And they're like, well, we don't want to talk about that.
Barely enough to make up for the headache.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
sometimes.
Awesome. Well, Josh, it was great having you on the show today. I mean, you're a rock star. And I was going to say rock star in the making, but you're already a rock star. And
Definitely.
you're going to continue to be a rock star. For people who want to get connected with you, you know, they want to list with you, they want you to represent them as a buying agent. Heck, they want to work on the investment side. What's the best way for them to contact you and find you?
The way most people do it is go to my Instagram at soldbywin.
All right.
At Sold by Winn, Winn.
You got it.
All right, we'll put that in the show notes. Awesome. Any other questions, honey?
That's it, I think.
I think that was
Yeah,
a great
it was
episode
awesome.
today, Joshua. Tremendous. Thank you for being here today. Great episode. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. Hope you got a lot of value out of it. Until we see you next time on episode 9, guys, have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Investor Agent Synergy Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share with others who could benefit from stronger partnerships in real estate. And a big thank you to our awesome sponsor, New Hampshire Home Buyers, helping homeowners with fair professional solutions since 2017. For more information about New Hampshire Home Buyers, how they can help you or someone you know, please go visit nhomebuyers.net. Until next time, remember, success in real estate is better together. See you on the next episode of Investor Agent Synergy Podcast.